Hello. I thought I'd say a bit today about perspective and anxiety. I'm going to put those two together. So I was thinking about aspects of my life at the moment that I could be anxious about. And there's three things I could be anxious about. So one is about the Norwich Buddhist Centre and our finances and how we're going to survive this period of shutdown, especially as it's likely to go on quite a lot longer. I could be anxious about the coronavirus and whether I'm going to get the virus and die, or whether any of my loved ones are. And I could be anxious about moving house, which we're going to be doing. So, yes, that's going through at the moment. I'm going to be moving near a town, and we haven't got a buyer for this place. So, yeah, I could be anxious about all those things if I wanted to be, or if I allowed myself to be. But anxiety is not something that I tend to do a lot of. So why is that? So how does the Dharma, how does the teachings of the Buddha help me to avoid being anxious? And the answer really is perspective. The Dharma gives me perspective. It gives me perspective from the reality of how things are. So the reality is that everything changes and nothing stays the same ever. Nothing even stays the same from moment to moment, except that we create continuity in our minds. And so it gives us the illusion of stability and permanence and control. So if we give up, at least to some extent, believing in those things, believing in control and permanence, and that things, we can stop things from changing, if we can give up those ideas and embrace the perspective that everything does change, there's quite a relief in that. So it's a case of entering the flow of reality, entering the flow of how things are. So anxiety is produced by anticipating that things will go wrong, anticipating dukkha, anticipating failure, anticipating problems. And it can also be generated by reflecting on the past, about how things were, about things we might have liked to be different. And I think it was yesterday, it was the day before, I think, that I was talking about the dream state, waking and dream states, and how we know what we know. And all I can know right now is that it's fairly early in the morning and there's a blue sky outside. There's some beautiful trees in front of me. And I'm aware that when me and Bodhivajra move house, I'm not going to have this garden to look at. So this garden is large, and it's becoming more difficult for us to manage. Well, for Bodhivajra to manage, because obviously I can't do any gardening. And I've never lived in a more beautiful place than the one I live in now. So I'm going to have to let go of that. And there's all sorts of mixed feelings in there. I'm certainly not anxious about it. But there is some sadness, and I'm acknowledging that. But also it's making me more appreciative of having it right now, of being able to enjoy it right now. So with the spring, we're moving from spring into summer, and it's a perfect time of year to be here. There are baby birds. There's 2 ring-necked doves that have just fledged out of a nest. That's somehow they managed to make a nest, these ring-necked doves, between a satellite dish, which has never been used. It's an old satellite dish, and the bricks of the house. So we've seen those 2 babies fledge, and there are baby blackbirds around with their beautiful song. So the garden is at its loveliest, and we're moving somewhere with a very small garden, a very ordinary garden, so somewhere very different. But we've weighed up what we need at this time in our life, and certainly in the future. So, moving at the right time before things get too difficult is really important. So I'm not going to regret leaving here, even though I'm leaving a lot of beauty behind. I'm keeping a perspective on change, on the fact that I'm getting older, that my body that was never perfect, never going to be a normal body, as it were, now is going to give me more problems in the future. And so acknowledging that, keeping a perspective on that, I'm going to make my life as easy as I can. So anxiety is very much projecting ourselves into anticipating problems rather than living in the present and being with what's right in front of us right now. So if you could do that, if you could just be present right now, right at this very moment, I'm sure if you can look right now into your experience, you can find plenty of things that are pleasurable. So, are you safe right now? Are you hungry right now? I mean, really hungry. I mean, are you suffering from lack of food or warmth? So, if you reflect deeply right now into your experience, you can find a lot of pleasure if you look for it. And in a way, that's the simple truth of how to live without anxiety, how to appreciate and really enter your living space, appreciating that you have a human body and that all our senses enjoy the world around us. I know it sounds ridiculously simple, but a lot of the time we don't do it. We spend our time fantasizing about what might happen, how bad things might be, worrying about if things get worse. So we don't need to do that to ourselves. Let's give ourselves the freedom of the present, the freedom of right now, the freedom of finding what is pleasurable in our current experience. And if we can do that, I can guarantee we'll just be a lot more content and a lot more relaxed and a lot less anxious. That's probably enough for today. Bye for now.